G'day everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. We're back for another episode of the Good, Bad and Ugly. Just recording this one after the Giants and Port Adelaide game for week 2 of this final series. Well, it was a ball over galore. That is the perfect theme to say for this week and this video, really. 2 upsets did occur, and honestly, when looking at it in a retrospective view, this perfectly reflects this year of footy. It's just been such an even competition in 2023. You have the winners, of course, of the Giants and Carlton hitting form at the right time, and it's just been such slim margins. I mean, look at the teams that even missed finals. They've been unlucky not to make the 8, and they've been very close too, but there you go. 5th place and 7th place will be making prelim finals. And let's go over the 2 games across the weekend, shall we? Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you do go on to enjoy. Let's get into it. So in terms of content with this video, there's not really too much to go over, as of course there was only 2 games across this weekend. But man, were they great games of football, especially this one. I think this one was the game of the year, if you do want to count game of the years as finals, because, you know, there's more stakes. It's almost unfair comparing to home and away season games. But this one was a cracker. The Blues causing a massive upset. I won't say massive upset. I always felt the Blues were a great chance here against the D's by 2 points. And first off, I just want to talk about the loser. I feel like, you know, on SCN, how they talk about the segment of which does this mean more for. I like to look at it both ways, but when I look at this result, it just instantly draws my attention to Melbourne. It's 2 years in a row now, and they've gone out in straight sets, basically off the same thing. Forward issues, lack of occasion there, forward 50. They don't have problems with supply and getting it in there. Midfield's in check. Defensively, I think they're great, but, you know, they're a little bit off the pace, I felt. But around the footy, I thought the Blues really broke even with them as well. But still, the chances they had, the black and white chances they had to win that game, they should have. And the same thing happened against Collingwood. Inside 50, a lot of lobbed balls. But this was a bit more of a different one where they actually had pure chances, shots at goal, but 9 goals, 17. It's not going to win your games of footy. Again, they were just really inaccurate with a lot of opportunities they had. 𝐓𝐡𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐼 was an odd one. I felt he was a whipping boy. He has obviously been suspended, so I think that's fair enough. He got caught up. He gave away a 50-metre penalty too, but he had chances to win it. They had goals really front and square as well, but they missed. 2 goals, 3 for 𝐼𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐼, same for Pickett. You know, Max Gawn missing those 2 set shots from really gettable shots after some good marks. He missed that snap, and he also, missed that goal really directly in front on a slight angle, but just so many behinds, and that cost their season. If I was a Melbourne supporter, I'd be filthy, because this is a side that should be challenging for flags, but I think deep down there is some issue probably with the mental side of things. It's like they've been a very fit side, and I feel like this year, this is such a harsh way for them to end the year, because this year I feel like they've been much better in terms of mental side of things. They've been down and out in a few games, but they've wrestled back momentum. They've been one of the fittest sides in the 4th term this year, but maybe just deep down there's something with this final series that they just can't win at the MCG. They haven't won at the G in a final since 2018 now, and yeah, deep down there could be something mentally wrong, I think, with how they go, especially in their forward 50. So yeah, a lot of Melbourne fans obviously calling for the head of Simon Goodwin and all that whatnot. Don't like to get into that too much. I just felt, this is a game, an unfortunate coincidence that 2 weeks in a row the same issue has happened. So maybe the blame goes on to the coach a wee bit as well, because you had like Stephen Mayne in the 4th quarter have a brilliant 4th term. He was just outstanding, but they just didn't get enough from a lot of plays. I felt there was some pretty poor plays out there, and Tom McDonald again did nothing. They didn't activate their sub. They used 𝐼𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐼 as a sub. They could have used someone a bit more smaller perhaps. But James Jordan I felt was poor. Tomlinson, he gave away a few frees, a few fumbles from like Chandler, and Spargo had a great first term but really faded. Didn't get enough from a few plays. I felt Salem had one of his worst games in quite a while too. Gawn got well beaten, I think, in the ruck, and they didn't pick Brodie Grundy. They had a second ruck to compete with Pitton and DeConing. Don't pick him. So yeah, it's a shoulda, woulda, coulda result from Melbourne. I still think how they play in general is good enough, but you just feel like to win a flag, you've got to be vulnerable. To win a flag, you've got to be, of course, the opposite of vulnerable, but you've just got to be, you've just got to be tough at it. You've got to be, a side that's daring. You've got to be a side that is intimidating. When you look at that as a whole, now, Melbourne, they're just a side that doesn't really intimidate you. I mean, how they won the flag in 2021 was a lot off midfield dominance. Max Gawn, he went off. If it wasn't for Oliver and Petrarca going off in that 3rd quarter, would they have lost that grand final? So there's questions around it now of, is their forward line good enough? Is it intimidating enough? Is it damaging enough? There are questions on that, because this is just how they lose games. This is the solely deciding factor in most ways between wins and losses for them. They've lost so many games this year, losing inside 50 counts. So there's something to fix really with this off-season. I mean, again, they had their outs. Van Rooyen was suspended. Petty was out too. Ben Brown was injured. So, yeah, I still feel like there is light at the end of the tunnel, of course. But this is a squad in its prime that should be competing for flags. And it's just unacceptable. Now they've gone out straight sets 2 years in a row, basically off the same thing. And I felt they were a bit damaged by the Blues off the turnovers. Now we switch over to the Blues' attention. Deserve the win. They just did. Again, yes, it shoulda, woulda, coulda from Melbourne. I felt like they really should have won the game, but I just felt the Blues hung in there so well, and this is why I tipped them. Sometimes with finals, you've just got to tip teams based off high spirits, and this is a football club that's just running off that momentum right now, and they're playing some great footy in the process. I mean, the D's started really strong, but the Blues still look settled from the first bounce, and they're able to nudge things back to 𝐻𝐿 kicking the first 2 goals for the Blues, then Motlop with that great goal, and that's the thing with Jesse Motlop. He is a great kick for goal with either a snap or a banana. Those are some of his best stuff, and he was kicking goals like that. And as the second, third term wore on, it was just really goal for goal. It was really under that 10-point margin. It felt like the D's were potentially going to run away with it, but it never happened. The Blues would come back. The Blues would hit the front. The D's would get back in front, of course. A few lead changes, but I think overall the main analysis or main output from this, the main look from this game is, I just felt both teams defensively were really strong. This was a free-flowing game between the arcs. Both teams defended really well. Goals were coming at a premium. And yeah, just when panic started to set in for both teams, I felt especially Carlton were very composed, but they were just relentless right till the final siren sounded. Their 1%ers, they were showing everything. Like even when they were still trailing, when the ball's in their back half, they're still diving for spoils and diving for smothers. And that's really what pretty much got them over the line in the end. But yeah, this game had so many of those or oh-so moments, or could have been moments, behinds, like Sparrow could have kicked that nice goal on the run. 𝐻𝐿𝐿 had chances, Max Gawn missing those 2 gettable shots, and then, yeah, fourth term was a beauty. Sam Walsh kicks it off with a great goal from a centre bounce, always with the set shot, and then, yeah, 𝐻𝐿𝐿 responds back with a nice kick inside 50 it was. Then Fridge gets one, and then, yeah, Motlop just, when it looked like it could have been all over 6 minutes ago, kicks that beautiful banana. I think it was a banana, or was it a snap? No, I think it was a snap. Snap a banana. It wasn't a drop punt. He loves kicking those goals. And then, yeah, that transition goal was brave. It was brilliant. I loved it. The kick from 𝐓𝐿𝐿, not just bombing it down the line. We see that from so many teams. Out across to Hollands. And the first-year player, I felt the kick was not so great. But then, I don't know who the defender was, but misjudged it. Doherty drives it long to a 1-on-2, and that man Blake Acres again. It's another win from the Blues where their role plays does the business. And the thing that really caught my eye with Carlton is, look, they lost they did lose the clearances, they did lose the contested possession by around 15, but they were just so tough around the footy, and their stoppage game really got to work. They were fishing from stoppage too, I felt. They were able to get those little kicks forward into advantageous positions and hit targets inside 50. Like even 𝐻𝐿𝐿's game was really quiet. He only had that mark on the lead and kicked the goal, and that's really it from him. But you just had, Matty Kennedy at half forward on lever, playing a bit of a diffuser role perhaps. He was able to really force some turnovers. His pressure I thought he brought was really good as well. Tom Nagani, he was the highest rated player on the ground. I thought his game was exceptional. Kicked the first 2 goals for the Blues, but around the ground, taking those important clunks and out some big moments, and he's starting to really come along as a player now. I think he's really starting to justify that high contract and all those transfer talks or those contract talks and all the big offers thrown at him and all that whatnot. But yeah, from the back half, Adam Side I thought had a pretty nifty game. 𝐻𝐿𝐿 was all very strong in defence, but yeah, both teams' defences were really strong. It's just like who was going to be that more efficient side, and I feel like it was just a game that fell to those 50-50 moments. The pressure was applied to that player, that little tap into the direction of a good position for another player to kick a goal, and yeah, the Blues were just able to make more of those chances. But yeah, ground level, they hunted well, they were dangerous, and they were just able to generate some goals from those stoppages. But yeah, the best player on ground, of course, Sam Walsh. He was the leader of that, hunting the footy, relentless all night, winging the footy in and under, 3 clearances, 34 touches, kicking some great goals too. That was the best game I think I've seen Sam Walsh play in his career. Superstar performance. I think if Carlton go all the way to the grand final, he's probably a chance to win the 𝐻𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐻 medal because he's just been brilliant this final series so far. Newman as well, 30 touches, was brilliant. Paddy Cripps in and under had a much better game than last week. I personally felt he was really composed in the goal face. But yeah, just so much to love from this Carlton side. Role players got to work, got enough out of them. Wiedering's game was brilliant. I thought Brody Kemp as well, in tandem with him, was fantastic as well. And yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda from the Demons. The Blues, Well, yeah, just high spirits. You know, this is a club that's been in torment and pain for 10 years, and now they're starting to see some hope. And I think these two finals wins have been cagey affairs, but when the moments matter, they just execute. And I feel like something special could be brewing. But they head off to Brisbane next week. Could be a good head out, but obviously Brisbane will still be the heavy favourites, you do think. But hey, I feel like they're going to give it every chance now. Sort of now entering that sort of position where it's like they've got nothing to lose. They've just had such a brilliant year. There's plenty to build off this year, no matter how they go from now on. But yeah, plenty of love from the Blues win. So many ways to look at it, but Carlton get it done in the end by 2 points. A massive ball over, one of the games of the year. As we now move on to the second semi-final, the Giants getting it done by 23 points over Port Adelaide. Did tip Port Adelaide with this one. I felt that, you know, this is a massive stakes game, but it's at home. They really bring out the class of their forward half and they put it on display. And if they could put some pressure on those Giants back half plays, which I felt they could, I reckon they could see a result. And I felt their midfield would need to lift. But I think in the end, in retrospective view, this young midfield Port Adelaide have maybe some questions on them, on are they a midfield group that will win a flag. That's probably a harsh comment because it's still a very young midfield, so I'll probably stand on that view. But, you know, with the years to come, they'll definitely galvanise more, you know, your likes of Butters, Rosie, Horn, Francis. They had some moments, but they just weren't consistent enough, especially in and under, as the Giants were just the tougher, cleaner, move the ball much better, the complete better side. Inside 50, picking apart targets beautifully. Port Adelaide's defence again, really disappointing. Trent McKenzie just got burnt all the time. Ryan Burton, you know, he was starting on Toby Green, then went off on him at half time. He wasn't getting it done. It was a really disappointing result from Port Adelaide, and yeah, just a poor performance really all around. I mean, at least the positive in a way is at least they didn't let in. You know, not going to be like a repeat of that 2021 prelim. At least they finished somewhat strong and they pushed right to the end, but it just wasn't good enough. I felt they were a little bit shell-shocked when the Giants were up and about. They could not control the tempo at all throughout this game. They were just forced into making mistakes from the Giants' pressure. And GWS, right from the get-go, dominated in the disposals statistic differential. Sometimes I don't look at that too much, but over nearly plus 100 disposals. Like, they just controlled the tempo of this game far better than Port Adelaide. Again, similar to the Saints last week. This is literally a carbon copy performance against the Saints from last week. When the ball goes to ground in their back half, they rebound really well. 𝐓𝐿𝐴𝐴 and Whitfield, Whitfield was brilliant. He was timing his runs so well. In the stoppages, they dominated. Clearance and stoppage game, they were fantastic. They just outdid Port Adelaide everywhere around the footy. You know, Butters and, of course, Rosie were just well beaten. You know, Tom Green was awesome. I think the experience as well, the Giants really played a part too, because you had 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐴 come back in the team. Definitely the best player in ground. Was just so good. And every time the ball's, you know, in a position to be won, there's always a Giants Guernsey there first. And they were so clean as well. They're a side, I reckon, that can challenge the Pies really well, because they play similar brand. Especially in terms of like cohesion and chemistry, because they move the ball so impressively. You know, the handball chains are clean. They get it out of congestion really well. And they're picking in apart their targets really well in their forward half. And this is the thing with the Giants as well. Just everywhere you look, everyone is playing their part. And that's what happens when you've got sides that are the most balanced. They have the highest upside. You know, if you go through just every player, you say thumbs up. Buckley, thought he was brilliant. You know, he did a superb job down back there, taking some intercepts. You know, Taylor thought was pretty productive. Connor Idone really strong as well. Ash Himmelberg, Whitfield rebounding well, coming at some nice moments. Josh Kelly only had around 20 touches, but he kicked that nice goal. He was great in the outside game. Tom Green's an impressive player, eh? You know, he's such a hard player to tackle, racking up those contest possessions, getting in good positions. Bedford, Daniels doing the business again, bringing the heat, bringing the pressure, forcing turnovers. They're great off the turnover tonight as well, the Giants. And then, yeah, 𝐷𝐶𝐿 and Riccardi. This is why the Giants are playing so well. They've got two plays, Hogan and Riccardi. You feel like, you know, they're just standard role plays, average plays. They're the reasons why they're winning games of footy, like especially in the finals. Riccardi went bang, he kicked that goal-sealing goal from the pocket, which was great to see. But Jesse Hogan has to be one of the most underappreciated players this year. He's really revived his career after it looked like it was on the ropes after moving to Freo, having a poor stint there. But his season's been brilliant. You know, he's such a strong player in the year. He's been able to kick straight. He's high on confidence, which has never been really a thing, especially early in the season. Early in his career. He's doing the business. 4 goals, 4 from him tonight. He could have had a bag of 8 if he was accurate. He missed some very gettable shots. And both teams are really inaccurate. Like, the Giants kicked 6 points in a row. halfway through the second, and then yeah, Port Adelaide, it was like a shoulda, woulda, coulda. I felt they came home strong, but they kicked just points after point. It was very, very ugly as the second half did get underway. But yeah, the Giants, just everywhere you look, they're playing some great footy. You know, the back six again defended extremely well. It's such an impressive unit they've got back there, and yeah, just every time it was in congestion, they got it out so cleanly, and it was just like so efficient with how they moved it, which is similar to how the Pies play. So yeah, now we have to sort of preview with that game as the Giants now move on. I think if there's any Pies fans, they probably are nervous, because this is the best team in the competition that I reckon can challenge the Pies, who I still think are the benchmark. I still think they're the best team in the comp, especially when you add in the variables of the, you know, the mental advantage, playing at the G, you know, finals footy, it's at the G and all that whatnot, and the crowd too. So yeah, it's going to be a red hot crack. I think Friday night the game will be, but yeah, the Giants were just the completely better side again. You know, looking at some of the team stats, I mean, yeah, they did come home strong, Port Adelaide, in terms of the inside 50s, but they just swallowed them up so well. Plus 16 clearances, doubled the stoppage clearances too. But yeah, you just watch on replay. It's just the efficiency with how they move the ball is so impressive. They did take on smart options. They didn't really like do two dumb options, but they went by hand really well. And they played similar to Richmond. They remind me of Richmond with how they played, just bashing and crushing it forward. That's just how they got the ball out of there sometimes. And they won it at ground level, and then, you know, they go forward into good positions. And that's sort of expensive Port Adelaide's defence, I feel. They're terribly out of form. McKenzie was poor. 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐻, I mean, he was okay last week. I don't think his game was too great. So yeah, there's definitely an option to look at now for Port Adelaide. Could be getting 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐻 and 𝗍𝐴THR in the off-season. But yeah, the Giants, one of the most informed teams of the comp, they use that, carry the momentum to head over to Port Adelaide, or Adelaide Oval, whatever you want to say, and win by 23 points. Complete performance. I'm loving watching the Giants at the moment. Maybe a team I could be cheering on for. Not bad as a little brother, as a Swan supporter might say, but yeah, great performance. Tougher and more cleaner side gets it done in the end. So overall, there was another episode of the Good, Bad and Ugly for week 2 of the 2023 AFL Finals Series. Of course, not really too much to talk about in terms of actually the context of Good, Bad and Uglies, as there were only 2 games, but, you know, it's just a round review in general, really. That's really what it is in the end. But yeah, a really entertaining final series I think this has been in general so far. Again, as I say at the start of this video, reason why 2 teams went out straight sets is just, we've been saying it all year, this competition's so even, and teams are starting to hit their form so well. You know, the premiership runways, they say, you've got to hit your straps in the second half of the year really well, and the Giants have done that, Carlton have done that, both off the prelims. It's going to be an exciting week 3 finals. But yeah, that was my outtake, or output, or outlook on this week of finals football. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you did go on to enjoy. Also comment down below and let me know what you did think of the round itself, as I do always love to hear every one of your people's opinions. And yeah, apart from that, everyone, I will talk to you later. See you later, fellas.